gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face.
What the hell is going on down there?
Bass in your face.
Hey guys, it's Mizzy, and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Welcome to the Sandra Birchmore Standout Live. Excuse me, I am under the weather. That's why I'm actually not at the Standout today. And so I decided to stream some of it. I'm not sure how long I will make it because I am not feeling well, but I wanted to make sure that I could get everything out for everybody. And so you guys could see what we do. I'm not sure what time my people will start coming in, but I just wanted to get some stuff out there. Give me 1 second. I want to turn my light down a little bit because it's like blinding me. It's a little better. So how is everyone doing today? Thank you, Jessica, for being here. Jessica is my lovely mod. She's awesome, amazing. So, treat her well. So while I'm waiting for my team to get all set up, our standout starts at 1. So I figured I'd come on and do a little talking before we got going and let you guys know about some things that are coming up in the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group. We have a lot of things coming up, especially in February. On January 22nd, there is a civil hearing, a hearing for the civil case, and I will be streaming that. I'm not sure what it's about yet, but I'm excited to be able to start putting that out there for people to be able to watch and see and get some more insight into the case. That's what's going on all sides of the Sandra Birchmore case. I have not seen a hearing yet because the ones that I was actually going to either attend or watch, they were canceled or postponed. So I'm hoping this one still happens so we could still get some movement in the civil trial, because if the other 2 officers can't be held accountable, or if they're never going to be held accountable by the criminal justice system, they need to be held accountable in the civil system, where at least the family can get put some hurt in their pockets, and also to go after the town and the police department to ensure that changes occur in Stoughton, that this never ever happens to another child again, and to make sure that they're updating policies and making sure that the town is watching what the police department does, because it's incumbent on the town too, the leaders of the town, to make sure that these people are being held accountable, and that we make sure that the police department does make the changes that need to be made, because like I said, this never should have happened, and this should never happen to another child anywhere but in Stoughton. Again, they need to make sure that they are on top of everything. And it's sad that there's going to be distrust now with the community with programs that have to do with the police. I mean, the police should be the safest place that you send, place that you send your child. And obviously we see what happened with Sandra. It was not. They were the ones who destroyed her. So so some other things that we have going on. Thank you. I'm still, I feel a little bit better today, but I kind of feel like almost like fevery. So I'm trying to, make sure I'm staying on top of my meds and drink tons of fluids. I have so much fluid up here. I have like my Mountain Dew, which I always have when I'm streaming in case I start feeling like I'm getting a migraine. I have a huge thing of tea, which I love this. As some of you know from my first stream, I have OCD and my OCD presents in germs. So I, frequently wash my hands. I use a lot of Lysol. And so I found this on TikTok. It's a tumbler that looks like a Lysol can. So when I saw it, I had to get it, and it's called Bitch Be Gone. So I was like, that's my jam. So, and I have tons of water. I might have to run and make a few pee breaks because I'm on a high dose of prednisone, and that makes my tummy. I have to go a lot. So, so the other things we have coming up, and I have a stink bug in my room, so that might start flying around. It's like right above me. Anyway, so ADHD. The other things we have coming up in February, early February. February 1st is the 4-year anniversary of when Sandra Birchmore was murdered. We are planning a standout in Canton at the Canton Police Department. We feel like that we've been going into Stoughton a lot to educate the people of Stoughton and beyond, but a lot is to educate the residents of Stoughton so they know what happened with Sandra. And because a lot of people were thinking that she was just we did a standout at a Stoughton meeting, and people were walking in and asking a lot of questions. And once the meeting started and people were talking inside, they were calling her the Canton girl. And Sandra was not a Canton girl. She just happened to live in Canton the last about 3 months of her life. She was a Stoughton girl. She was raised in Stoughton. She grew up in Stoughton. She went through the Stoughton school system. So people need to be more educated and know that, yes, the abuse that happened with Sandra and the police officers that abused Sandra, that was taking place in Stoughton. But her murder occurred in Canton, and it's and what the Canton police did and didn't do when it comes to her scene and kickstarting the notion that she unalived herself. We got to make sure that Canton knows that it's a part of their community too. It's not just the John O'Keefe murder, it's the Sandra Birchmore murder also. Oh, I have my first guest coming in. She's just setting up. But so on the first, we're doing a huge standout. It's going to be from 1 to 3 at the Canton Police Department. And then we have on the 4th, there is a hearing for Matthew Farwell in Boston. And so we're going to be going to that. We're going to do a standout starting at 9. And then, my team's all going to go in. So if anybody could stay out there and do standout, that would be great. If not, that's fine. After we head in, people can head off. But we have 2 big back-to-back things going on that we need to make sure that we get numbers out there for. So if you're available for any of those dates, the 4th, the hearing is at 10:45 and we're going to be there at 9. So I just want to make sure that, that we get some numbers out there because they need to understand that the public is not going to stand for what happened to Sandra. we are not gonna we're not gonna let this fade. We're not gonna stop speaking out. We're not gonna stop promoting her case, because we need to make sure that this never happens to another child. Trisha, I'll be right with you. Mizzy themed chat is bitch be gone. I will make sure that I have this for every stream going forward. Because sometimes a bitch just needs to be gone. Okay, I'm gonna bring Trisha in.
Hey, I'm just
Hello,
trying to flip my
darling.
camera.
Huh? Oh, I saw you like dancing around with your camera, so I was like, I'm gonna hold off until I bring her in.
Hold on, I can't hear
How
you.
are
Give me
you?
one sec.
This is one of part. Oops. This is part of my team, Trisha. She is our sign queen. Trisha is a boss when it comes to our signs. She's taken care of us to make sure that we have
How do I
signs
flip
there
my camera?
every standout.
Camera's off.
And it's been such a relief to me, because I don't live in that area, and I take public transportation to get there. So Trisha has been like such a big part of like the Sandra Birchmore movement and promoting Sandra's case when we do the standouts. So I'm so thankful that she is part of my team, and that she agreed to stream with us today, so we can show you guys what we have, what we do. And
Okay.
we have actually a pretty good group so far. I'm hoping we get a few more people today. There's a party later on tonight that a bunch of people are going to, so which I'm missing out on. But I'd rather stay home than get people sick. So and get sicker, because I want to make sure that I'm healthy for the February 1st standout. That's the most important. Wow, we have a good crowd out there. Trisha, put your mic on.
Pictures are okay.
I am.
Here.
I'm on live on Mizzy's thing.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys want to say hi, it's live on Mizzy's show. She's
I
streaming.
hope you're feeling well.
Hey guys.
Can you see them?
Yes, I can.
We've got a really good crew.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
She's thanking everybody.
Get well, Mizzy.
Feel better.
Thank you. Thank you for Beatrice. I can't even talk today. I see a bunch of my crew. I see Annie, and I see Barb. This is Sandra's cousin Barb that she just passed. I am going to be interviewing her on
It's
Thursday.
Mizzy. So Mizzy's doing her live. Sorry.
So I see some really cool signs. Trisha,
Yes.
can you show me that there's a woman? I can't see who the person is. Those signs with the woman, I think she's in pink.
In the
Can you show me
pink?
those signs?
We got no quits.
Yes.
I think is it Danielle? It's Danielle, right? Jen Marie. Yeah. So Mizzy was asking what your sign said. You've got a show as well, don't you? No?
That's just for Sandra Birchmore.
Can you see it?
Yes, all involved, accountable. I really like that, especially with the light
Great
blue.
sign,
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Victoria made it, she said. This is Victoria. She made
Hi,
the
Victoria.
sign.
Oh, I like that
I
one
love
too.
sign making.
I love that one. Thank you guys for making those awesome signs.
Yeah, they did great, right?
Yeah, they did. And I appreciate everybody coming out, especially with me not being able to be there, and with how cold it is there.
It's not as bad as I was crying about for the last 48 hours.
It's the boots on the ground people are amazing, and we in the Sandra Birchmore movement and the Free Karen Reed movement, we wouldn't be able to do it without them. They just are amazing people who just give up their Trisha's concentrating on my favorite sign. You want to get a little closer so they can read it?
Going this way.
Fanning covered up Sandra Birchmore's murder. Fanning is a piece of shit who instead of doing
Lorraine
his
heard
job,
that. She's cracking up laughing.
he covered up the murder of Sandra Birchmore, and he deserves to rot for that. That's the sign I like to hold when I'm at the standouts, because I take extra. And yes, Morrissey covered up Sandra's murder.
That's my fave.
Yeah, Trish and I. There's a couple of good photos of us from one of our last earlier standouts where we had those signs, and we joked about making that into our Christmas card.
Yes.
What they did, I mean,
As another
we knew what was
die-hard
going on, but when we
standout
found out that the FBI arrested him and they had the goods, which they got a large percent of the information from the Massachusetts State Police, and it wasn't from. People need to realize it was the Massachusetts State Police who turned this information over to them, not the Massachusetts State Police unit under Morrissey. Yes, the Massachusetts State Police had to get that information from Morrissey's office, but it was the acting was a colonel and them who turned over the information. If you watch the press conference from the FBI, it's made very clear in that he thanks them, and he says that he will turn over all information he has to the state police so they can bring charges also. So people need to understand the difference in just the regular Massachusetts State Police and that unit, because that unit, there's a rot in that unit, and we need to root it out. And hopefully we can get a new DA in there to get them out and get rid of that whole team and build up the team again, so we can ensure that this never happens again. So, Trisha, what's that sign?
So we've got some diehards here. They're sending your love.
Hey guys, I can't hardly read. How many more Sandras are there?
Are there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Great
love
sign.
that sign.
Great sign.
I absolutely love that sign. I'm sorry if I'm yelling, guys, because I can't hear myself because my
She's saying she met you in the rain. That standout where it was downpouring. She's saying that she met you there, Ms.
Oh, okay. It was so lovely to meet you.
They're a dual power couple.
Yes, I remember that.
Sandra, and then now they come and support all the victims, including Sandra. Absolutely. I see them all the time at Free Karen Read.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. But this sign is a perfect example of another reason why we do what we're doing, because I know there are other victims. There's no way between Ashley Bell and Sandra Birchmore that there aren't a 10-year period. There are no other victims. Come on. What are they? There's no way. There is absolutely no way there aren't other victims. I'm not saying to the extent of what happened to Sandra. I doubt anybody had, the extent of what happened to Sandra. But the grooming, maybe even some sexual activity. Obviously not to the murder, the size of being murdered, but it's imperative that we keep pushing so we can get answers to, are there other children? Because I feel like Sandra's the iceberg and she's just the tip. And there's a lot under the surface. Because like I said, there's no way that from between Ashley Bell and Sandra Birchmore, there's no other children. Come on. Pedophiles don't just, go dormant.
Sorry.
How Fanning moved up in the ranks. Yeah, Fanning's a form, and this is part of the reason I have such an issue with Fanning beyond the investigation portion is, hold on one second. Fanning was a former Stoughton police officer. He should have never been on Sandra's case. He worked with Robert Devine. He was in that police department when the Farwell brothers went through the Explorers program as children. There is he just like Michael Proctor, he should have never, ever been on this case. And I don't know how he moved up, but he seems to fit in with the good old boys club that they have going on in Norfolk County. So like I said, he never should have been on this case. And that's an extension of the tragedy that happened with Sandra. She didn't just she wasn't just groomed and abused by the Stoughton Police Department. She was abused by the system of the officers that should have gotten this man off the streets. That was our banner that we made. I had
Yes,
made.
that is your banner. Yes.
It's I love it, and I'm so glad I made it because when Matthew Farwell was
Barb holding it.
Annie, the one in the blue coat, her and a small group of women, and there was a couple of men too that went down to the courthouse and made sure to get there with that banner so they can hold that banner out in front of the courthouse.
You're fine.
And
everybody's working behind the scenes here.
It was imperative that they got that down there, and I'm so thankful that they did, so people could understand that there were people who supported Sandra, and there were people that were happy that he was finally arrested. And I'm so thankful Annie and that crew, Allison, Jen O'Donnell, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who else got down there. It might have, I could be wrong, Rich Schiffer might have been one of them.
Allison,
I'm not sure.
Got down there.
I'm so thankful.
Yep. Rich Schreifer got down there. Are we talking about the last court case?
Yes. Okay. That's
so Rich Schreifer got down there. Allison, Annie, maybe Esty, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm just like thinking off the top of my head from pictures.
Yeah. I know Jen O'Donnell was one of them.
Oh, yeah. Jen O'Donnell. That's right. Because Jen went with Allison. That's right. They were together. That's right. Yep.
And I'm so thankful to all of them to get down there because I wasn't able to. I wouldn't have been I wasn't in the mental capacity to get down there either, because I was like, when I found out, I was just running around like my living room going, oh my God, they got him. And my mom's like, what do you mean? I'm screaming, they got him. She's like, what are you talking about? And I ran in and looked at her, and I just like gave her this look, and I said, they got him. And she was like, oh my God. So, hey guys. And this is like the perfect place for a standout. It's like a five-way intersection in Stoughton. It's right across from the town hall, and it's like it's this kind of like almost like an island that jets out in the middle of this five-way intersection, and it's like a V shape, so we can stand on all sides of it and get all directions so they can see our signs. And we get a lot of people that beep and wave and yell, and we'll have even EMS drive by or fire trucks. They'll toot for us, and we've even had a couple officers as they went by, they made a couple noises. So this is like our home base. We've done a couple other places. We did at Canton Town Hall. We've done it Canton, the Canton Police Department. We've done it at Morrissey's office a few times. And we started another one this summer. We'll definitely head back there. It's I think it's called Cobb's Corner. It's in where we it's where Stoughton, Canton, and Sharon all meet in this big intersection, and there's a lot of shops and restaurants in that area. So it's a very busy intersection. And we had one of our best standouts there in the pouring rain, and I believe it was September. And we got a lot of good feedback and people waving and beeping and participating with us. The public interaction was awesome. So excuse me, it's definitely a place we want to head back to.
Dennis Sweeney's here.
Oh, hello, Dennis.
Mizzy's saying hello, Dennis. She's on live streaming from her channel.
Thank you for coming with the flags.
Okay. Who has come to our standout.
Yes, thank you for coming.
She's thanking you very much for coming.
Of
Such a pleasure. Yeah, we appreciate you. So great to have you here. And then we've got some OGs. You know, there's just these OGs that we have here. Solid AF, these people. You have
Yes.
no idea. Solid AF.
I just got to pop off screen for 1 second, guys.
Sure.
Okay. So how is everyone doing today?
Are you talking to me?
Well, you too. How are you doing, Trisha?
We're doing great. Everybody's in great spirits here. I think everybody's pumped about tonight.
Yeah, I'm sad that I can't be there. I'm like, it's the first one of the year, and then there's the dinner for people, so it's like kind of sad, but I would rather be getting better than being sick for the first. I got to get better for that, and this seems like from what I've been talking to a lot of people, it's this bug that just is relentless and just doesn't go away. I mean, I've been sick since like the 30th of December, and I started feeling better. I thought I was going to be able to come. We even had a moderators meeting on Wednesday, and I was like, oh, okay, I should be okay. And then like Thursday, it was just like, no.
Mizzy, if it gets too loud with all the beeping, you can tell me to, mute it. Just let me know when you need.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good. So actually, why don't you start from the corner right where you're heading and talk to people, ask them how they heard about Sandra's case.
We've got Lorraine here.
Lorraine is one of my moderators for the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group.
Hello,
an awesome addition. Hey guys, ask them how they found out about Sandra's case, Trisha.
They want to know, Missy wants to know how you guys found out about Sandra or join. I know that Lorraine is part of our group. She's one of our mods. But you can tell how you started out too. And then if you wanted to share why you got, why you're here today.
I think maybe a year ago. I think I saw something on Facebook that must have strolled by because I had not been like a YouTube kind of girl, hadn't been surfing those things. So it must have been one piece of information. And then I typed it in and found the Sandra Birchmore Facebook page. And then I learned about the Standout.
Yeah. Same. Pretty much the same.
And it's a beautiful day.
It is a cute, gorgeous day. And we love Lorraine as an addition to our group. She's amazing.
We absolutely.
Let everybody in.
I'm going to mute you.
Absolutely. Lorraine was definitely a great addition to our team, especially since we needed somebody who she's a bus driver. So her time where she could pop in during the day and check out the page, worked so well with what we needed. So she was such an amazing addition to our team. And we also added one of Sandra's cousins to the team, which is awesome that we have another family member besides Barb who is now a part of our team because, it's important to have the family's input in presence. It helps people be, it helps make it more impactful because, it shows that we're on the same page. We're not going to be on the same page about everything, but it helps that we're all working together and it's not just, people who didn't know Sandra. And you guys will find out more on Thursday, but how much a part of this that Barb really was I was the right hand, she was the left hand. I might have been the face of Sandra Birchmore, the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group, but Barb was we're equal partners in this. It's just, because she's a family member, The family and the lawyer for the civil case didn't really want family to be out there talking a lot. So family members weren't speaking till kind of around when he got arrested. A lot of family decided that they felt like they needed to start speaking out. And, when I talk to Barb, it's going to be where there's a lot of things she won't be able to get into because she is a family member and we don't want to harm the case. But it's imperative for her to be able to speak a little bit more about Sandra so you guys can learn more about Sandra as a person, and we could talk about all the things that we have coming up with the Sandra Birchmore group. So
Okay, so I'll continue on. Your name?
I'm Diane, and I came to Sandra Birchmore. I met Nikki at
can she speak up? I can't hear her.
She's saying that she met you at the Morrissey Standout. I think she's trying to talk.
Oh, thank you.
Marcy Standout, and ever since then,
The fundraiser one, yeah. And she said ever since then she's been on board.
pouring rain. It was wonderful.
Pouring rain.
Another pouring rain.
Thank
you. I appreciate you coming out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. She appreciates you coming out. She just made a really good point too. She said, cars have their windows up, and she's holding a sign. She says all you need is eye contact with the driver when we're at these red
I
lights.
use my eyes
Yes.
to connect with the driver and, just look at them, and they're looking at the sign, and they kind of start reading, like this is happening right now
Yep.
as we speak with this gentleman. And
Yeah, see, it's happening now. So people do read the signs. It's interesting. So she's saying she can catch eye contact with people and understand where, after they're reading our signs, where they stand with it. We get lots of thumbs ups. I've already had someone pull over and talk to me and share a story. And thank us for being out here. And that was within the first 5 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. Hold on, Trish. The Standout right now it's at basically a Stoughton Town Center. It's right across from the Stoughton Town Hall. So if you put in, if anybody wants to head down there, if you put in your GPS Stoughton Town Hall, it's right there. So we're right across the street from there. You'll see everybody out there. There is a little bit of parking at Town Hall, but there's parking all around there too. So if
it's right on the corner of 138 and Washington Street, Stoughton Center, dead smack in the middle.
Thank you.
So I'm going to pass you off to Suzanne so that I can take some water and say hello to some people. So she's going to continue the walk and saying hello to people.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Trisha.
So just kind of doing a walk and saying hello to people and asking them why they're here.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Missy. Hi, everyone.
Let me talk to Suzanne. Hold on. Before you talk to anybody else, why don't you come on camera and or at least let me talk to you so I can so people can know who you are.
Yeah, sure. If I can figure out how to flip her camera.
Well, if you can't go on camera, we can have Trisha or somebody else show you on camera later. But Suzanne's also part of our team. Yes. She's a moderator. Oh, there's Suzanne. She's a moderator. And she's been one of the early people coming to the Standout. So thank you for being there and helping out and taking up the part of the duties of this streaming, because with me not being able to be there, I thought it was imperative to stream today so we can get it out there more.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and we have an amazing crowd. And I'm gonna go back around and say hello to everybody while we're nice and warm and comfortable for now, which is awesome. And I'm just gonna hit up the crowd and talk to everyone for a bit.
Okay. Before you do, how did you find out about Sandra Birchmore's case?
Well, I initially heard about the case through a very rapid cycling news report about a young woman dying by suicide in Stoughton. And I remember seeing a glimpse of the story and having it go away very quickly, and just having this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that just doesn't. Why am I not hearing more about this? It doesn't sound right. It doesn't add up. And then the story kind of became quiet for a bit. Fast forwarding to when the Globe put out the story in September. I'm sorry, it's 2023, right? I lose my dates all the time. About the
No, it was 2022.
I'm jumping around 2022 when they released the findings of the Stoughton internal report, and then it became this absolute, I guess, sonic boom of, wow, this story is way bigger and more devastating than ever thought before. And I think it was that when we started to become acquainted with each other at Standouts, because there was just something that didn't sit well. I mean, none of it sat well about Sandra's story, but it was because of that internal report that it became more of a mission to get involved and to get the truth of her story out, and ultimately, you know, have the public know that the story about her death was not the reality, and that she was murdered.
Yeah, because of that report, I know this all stems from the Stoughton Police Department, but they didn't even have to do an internal report. They didn't even have to do an internal investigation if they didn't feel like it, but they felt like they needed to, and I'm glad they did. And then they didn't have to publicly release that report either. And I'm so thankful, that they did do a public release of the report. So we were able to find out what the heck, that this happened, because otherwise it would have just went down as a young woman who unalived herself. And it's, Stoughton Police Department has a lot of what happened is so disgusting, and there's so many adjectives I could use, but some of them will be a lot of F-bombs and stuff like that, so I'm not going to do that. But
clearly Brian Holmes was on to that report was everything. He put everything into that, and that was also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but part of that was the what in the world. So the state police and the DA's office had taken over, but nothing was done, which is what made the Stoughton police report or the investigation more, I guess, I don't know, gut-wrenching, that all of this truth was coming out, and it brought more questions with every page,
Yeah, it's like when I saw the report on, it was Channel 5 News, and I've told this story a bunch of times, but I was cleaning my room or folding clothes, I should say. And I just started yelling and screaming at my TV because I was so enraged, because I was like, there is no way that this girl did this to herself. It just, like they're telling the report, and I was, because at the beginning they didn't say about her death. They were only talking about, what the officers did. And I was like enraged because of that. And then the second they said that she, unalived herself, and I was like, no. And that she was pregnant. I was screaming at my TV like a lunatic. And I was like, there's no way in hell that this young woman did this to herself. I don't care what these people are saying. And I knew that I had to keep looking into her case. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot out there. It was like in the news for a couple days, and then it went away. And that's another issue that we all need to, I know we've all been talking about it, but the press needs to get their heads out of their asses and start doing their jobs like they should be. There are, thank goodness for like Laura Grimaldi, and her team at the Boston Globe, because she's been the one consistent reporter on this case since she broke the story. And
he's been yeah, absolutely.
She's been such an amazing force when it comes to telling Sandra's story. And, that I look at it like Laura, the guys from the case, and our group, those three entities are what drove to keep Sandra's story out there and alive. And I think if it wasn't for all 3 sections, it never would have stayed out in the public eye. And that is a tragedy. There is what happened to Sandra is a tragedy, but the fact that it was buried is an equal tragedy. So
Well, I think the time and what went into, I mean, the tragic events leading up to her death. I mean, that was 8 years of catastrophically bad behavior that was happening under the watch of, way too many different, I guess, supervisors, agencies, however you want to summarize it, and it never, none of it ever should have happened. It basically most of her life from 13 on happened in such a way that it shouldn't have happened, and that's what keeps all of this, this energy and this love for her alive, is that we want things to be different moving forward, and that's a big part of justice for Sandra, is making
it's making sure that this never happens to anybody else, and also making sure that if there are other victims, which you and I have talked about many times for hours, that if there's a safe place for them to now feel like they can come forward. And I hope that they feel like the FBI is a safe place to go now that they know that they are taking this case seriously. I just want to give a shout out to Scott, who is in the chat right now. He said he couldn't make it to the Standout today, and Scott was like such an early supporter of me and Sandra and coming to the Standouts, but he was in the chats of a lot of YouTubers talking about Sandra's case before Sandra's case really, before we were able to really get a big audience looking at Sandra's case. And Scott was very impactful talking about that, because, he was very well known throughout the Free Karen Read movement in the community. And his voice helped people to really look at, say, oh, there is another case, and take it seriously. So I anytime I can thank Scott, I love to thank him, because, he definitely, even coming into the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group and commenting there, and just by commenting, it helped get her story out there, because people saw that it was somebody that they knew saying there was something wrong with this case. So that was very, very important. So I'd like to shout him out.
Absolutely. We definitely owe a debt of gratitude to Scott McGinnis, and he's been just an unstoppable, force of support, and on the ground and online, and we love you, Scott. And
yeah,
I wanted just the camera angle just to show, because you just were talking about the potential of other folks who are nervous about coming forward, or have been over time, that now are able to. I'd love to give them a visual of sort of the love in the community that's here right now at this Standout, so that it puts it into perspective, because we've got a lot of great folks here. So I'm just going to turn the camera towards them for a minute. I mean, these are some of the amazing folks, some new, by the way, which is awesome. Some new folks, but just the most amazing people you could ever meet, that we're all here for the same reason, that never give up on justice for Sandra Birchmore.
Yeah. Miss Jessica is saying hello. She said, Suzanne. I'm so thankful for everybody who comes out and stands with us and has helped spread Sandra's story, because the mainstream media wasn't spreading it. Getting her story, keeping her story out in the public has been a slog at times. It's been a hustle, but the partners that we've had who have helped us along the way, I thank everybody. Everybody in the chat, thank you for coming and watching this and being a part of this, because just you being here helps push Sandra's story out there more, and that's all we can ask for, is getting her story out there more. Yes, Matthew Farrell has been arrested, but we still have a long way to go. We haven't even had a hearing in person since he was arrested. We haven't even had our day in court yet, but I think I'm kind of almost happy we haven't, because the day that it falls on now is like amazing. The day it is, it's on February 4th, and that's the 4-year anniversary of when Sandra's body was found. So I think it was the planets and the galaxy and the worlds aligning to show, for us to be able to be there and show our love for Sandra and support Sandra on the day when the anniversary of when her body was found.
Or perhaps, I'm going to put this out there, it could have been strategic on the part of Josh Levy.
Could be. I could very well could be.
But I thought that in the back of my mind is why that date. And it seems that everything was so meticulously done in his report when it finally did happen that that perhaps it was a choice to make it impactful.
Yeah. The free camera read movement, I understand. I mean, I'm part of that movement, but I understand why the frustration, why nothing has happened in that case. Sandra's case was almost a little easier, in John's case, there's so many moving parts and people and different, aspects of the case. And with Sandra's, it ended up being, these few officers, and especially, the murder of her. It's easy on paper. Matthew Farrell murdered a witness against him. That's easy. It was easy to prove. It was easy on paper. They had the abuse all laid out in text messages. They had everything they needed, and they had crime scene photos, and they had, 2 experts saying that she was murdered. That it wasn't, a suicide. And on paper, it's a lot easier. Her case is a lot easier. And also the feds don't, they had discovery ready for Matthew's lawyers basically from the jump. And they when the feds come in, they're coming in because they have the goods. They're not going to come in. I mean, of course, there's always more information that they can gather. There's more stuff that they can do, but they have the goods. They have this person, I hate to use this term, but dead to rights. And in Matthew's case, they had the goods. Like I said, in the John O'Keefe murder, there's a lot of people moving parts when it comes to John's death, and then also the investigation and the cover up. So there's a lot of moving parts. So that's why it's taking so long. The feds don't do quick cases. They get them right. That's why they have such a high success rate of convictions. So my stomach's growling. Sorry, guys. So be patient. I know it's hard to be patient. It's very, very hard to be patient, but they are working hard to figure out everything that happened, whether it be just in what happened the night of John's death and everything that happened after the cover up. And, they might be building like a RICO case or, a criminal conspiracy. That's not a small case. That's a large case, and it takes a lot to get the goods on everybody.
Well, we know patience is my strong suit. I want everybody scooped up and apprehended now, yesterday. It's not my strong suit, but they certainly are doing a thorough job.
Yes. And that they have to be. When the feds come in, they want to make sure that they have everything before they put the case on the table. And And I honestly don't think, I've said it before, I don't think that the feds intended to move when they did on Matthew Farwell. They moved because they knew that a judge 2 days before said that the state had to turn over a lot of information to the civil trial. They were going to be getting, Matthew Farwell's team would have gotten a lot of information into a peek into what the Justice Department was doing. So I think that's why, and you know, it happened 2 days before, and then the next day it was released publicly, and then he was arrested the next day. So I think that's why he was arrested when he was. Speaking to my retired FBI contact, he said they probably had that warrant for a while, but they were just waiting for, you know, a few ducks to be in a row and to make sure that they had everything that they needed. But that could have been what made them jump to get him, you know, because they didn't want him to run, you know. I mean, I'm sure they were watching him to know where he was, but you know, they didn't want him to run and not be able to get him.
Sorry, I muted for a sec because somebody was talking to me.
That's okay. Somebody's asking a question. Did the move on Farwell also because an independent, well-respected ME publicly said Sandra's injury was not her? Well, there were actually two independent pathologists who said that. The FBI hired their own pathologist who was a strangulation expert. And so, you know, the family hired Dr. Bodden, and his report came, the report came out for, not an actual report, but it came out in June 25th that Dr. Bodden said Sandra didn't do this to herself, that it was a homicide. And then, like I said, the FBI also hired a medical examiner. And I believe it was 2 weeks before he was arrested, the FBI and Fanning and Dung and the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner, and the medical examiner who performed the autopsy on Sandra all had a meeting at the ME's office. And the feds walked them through the evidence that they had when it came to Sandra's, the diagnosis that they gave, that it was an unaliving, that they said that it was that, you know, that's why they hired this expert, because he was an expert in strangulation. And because her hyoid bone was broken, they should have never considered it, you know, a self, that she did it to herself. So, all right, Suzanne, why don't you to some people?
I'm listening.
Yeah, why don't you go talk to some people?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I had a plan and I didn't want to interrupt your flow. So,
Courtney, so do I. I wish I could be there too. The first one of the year, and I'm missing it. I'm so sad, but like I said, I'd rather be home getting better than not being able to make the February 1st meeting, Standout, that we're having for the 4-year anniversary of Sandra's death.
obviously got a really good turnout, so I'm just gonna start saying hello like I did when I first got here. So as you know, Timma, we're on the just want to say hi.
Hi, Timma.
Tim is one of our staunchest supporters and is here for everything all the time.
Ask Suzanne.
Yeah.
Can you ask him how he found out about Sandra's case? That's what I'm kind of asking people to do Let's have Tricia too.
Yeah,
Ask
and,
them.
and it's great to hear from a male point of view
Yeah.
too, because we hear ourselves talk about
Probably
it all the time.
during the Karen case, and then you looked into the Norfolk County DAs, and then shit, just all the crap.
It's all well, and as far as Sandra Birchmore's case in particular, what about her case is like really stays with you? It keeps you here for this all the time because you're always here.
Yeah, I think it's the trust. I think like when I was younger, it was priests, and then with her, she looked up to someone that you trust, that she trusted.
Yeah.
And just like you break that trust, and it's just sorry, there's no other word. They're out.
Suzanne, there's a message. There's a message for Tima. Tell him that Miss Jessica said he's her bestie.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Miss Jessica. Yes. Tim's one of our favorites.
Jessica knows William.
Yes, Miss Jessica does know William very well.
I'll be there February 4th.
Yes. Miss Jessica and I are going to have a conversation, but we haven't been able to because I've been sick this week. So we can have a sit down about, all she knows about them. But
thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I've got a couple other folks I'm going to chat with too. Hi, how are you? I'm going to come back over in a sec. DJ, my man.
Jersey to be here.
Yes, or you could just put the town hall address.
I'm getting DJ for a sec.
Washington Street.
Okay.
We're on.
I'm gonna be right there.
We'll circle back to DJ in a minute.
I hear Annie's laugh.
Conversation now. And everybody's having a wonderful day here, which is great to see. And you know what? I'm gonna say hi to our friend Dennis. Dennis, we're just gonna say hi to Mizzy real quick because she's online.
Hello, Mizzy.
Hey, Dennis.
Yesterday, I believe. How you doing?
Coming.
And Dennis is another one of our fearless and staunch male supporters, which, you get to hear from the women on this movement all the time, but we love to hear from you guys too. And you're here for all of the movements and all of these combined cases, but what does justice for Sandra Birchmore mean to you?
It means a lot to me, dear. Look what happened. And it's the same players involved.
Same players.
God knows so many other cases you haven't heard about.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is more.
And you stand out as here we've got these guys who engaged in this horrible behavior that led to her abuse and her death. And you're one of the safe guys. You're who we look to in this world to stay safe and to feel supported. And I think it's important that we give a shout out to that as well. Because we love you, Dennis.
We love you guys too, believe me. My wife's involved in it, Missy,
Yeah.
all you guys. And there's not many guys who will strap them on and some.
But to have strong, safe men who are our fearless protectors, that's what we want most in this world, and that's what Sandra needed, And we appreciate that.
Thank you. No.
Thank you.
My honor.
We got to take a break for a group photo, Missy. We're gonna get back on. All right, I guess you're coming in with us.
Yes.
Oh, come in.
But I don't want to be the spokesperson. You want to be? I'll hold you. Okay,
Yeah.
The banner's coming through.
It's like holiday photo torture all over again. Sorry, chat.
Smile, Mizzy.
Awkward family photos. We did it. It's good.
Yay.
The gang's all here. We had to capture the moment. So Thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for bearing with us. Are there any other questions in the
So
chat?
I want to introduce you to this woman.
No, people just sending their love.
Sorry.
I'm gonna turn you around.
Yeah, if you want to walk around and ask some more people how they found out about Sandra's case and why they're there, and that would be great, Suzanne.
Sure.
They're nice.
Sure, I was making my way over. DJ, we're gonna step aside for a minute. We're gonna talk to see. There's a few people who are moving around a little bit.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
DJ's been a very powerful supporter of Justice for Sandra Birchmore, and now
Hi, DJ.
from far away. So big props to that for showing up today.
Yeah, man.
But I was chatting with him earlier, and I wanted to ask, first of all, thank you for opening your channel and your resources to speak with us and give voice to this case. That's huge. And I'd love to know, now that you've learned a lot more about this case through this group, I would say, and some of the other OGs that were online during your panel. What does Justice for Sandra Birchmore mean to you as a man and somebody who is against all of this horrible behavior? Like, what does this case mean to you?
I think we're off to a really good start because they got Farwell.
Yeah.
So we know that their tentacles are wrapped into this. And I think justice for me would look like if they are able to use Farwell to get to whom he knows are the other perpetrators against her. And then even if they can't file charges against them because they may not be federal charges, if they could then use that sort of their bully pulpit of the Justice Department to turn that evidence over to the Norfolk DA's office and then have them prosecuted from a state perspective. So I think that's what it would look like for me. If we have 1, 2, 3, 4 or so, however many men were involved in committing crimes against her, if they can be implicated, if that evidence can be gathered and physically handed over to the Commonwealth so that they can be arrested on what would be state charges.
And now, well, that's let's hope for this, shoot for the stars on that. I mean, we want all of that. Now, when did you first learn about the case? I know that we sort of educated together along the way, but when did you first learn about it?
Yeah, it was probably Mike. I think it was Mike.
Young Jerks.
The Young Jerks, Mike Crawford. I think I first heard about it on his show, and then someone told me about the podcast. Done.
Case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I listened to that, and that's how I got spun up on what the case was. No pun intended.
So you were pretty brought up to speed even before you spoke with those of us in the justice group.
Yep.
Well, I mean, your point of view is invaluable, as well as you sharing your channel and giving us more time and energy. And I really appreciate, on behalf of Justice for Sandra Birchmore, thank you for that. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you on behalf of Calling All Beings, for you, Suzanne, and teaching me all the things that you have.
Yep. Well, the journey continues. And it'll continue on to tonight.
Cleveland!
And I'm doing it wrong, but I've got the phone.
No, it's all good.
So thank you for that.
No, I appreciate you.
Can you put him back on, Suzanne?
Yep. Say that again.
Can you put him back on so I can say hi?
Oh. Yeah.
Hi, DJ. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out to our Standout. I wish I could be there. I didn't get to meet you last time you were out here, and this time didn't happen. So next time you come out, I'll definitely have to make sure that I'm not sick or indisposed.
Last time. All right.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming and everything. You've had me on the show a couple times, and I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, darling. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And if you don't know his show, it's called Calling All Beings. Check it out. He does a lot of awesome panels with a bunch of different creators and supporters, and he has great talks with people. So go check out his show.
Handing out business cards as we speak, so we're all grabbing.
You always gotta keep the hustle going on. I want to answer a question. So, is Farwell out on bail? No, he's not. He's still in jail. I spoke to somebody who was a former prison guard where he is, and he basically comes out and takes a shower and goes back to his cell. He's in protective custody, so he can only spend like an hour out of his cell a day, and he doesn't do any recreation. He just basically goes in and takes a shower and then goes out. There's another question I want to answer too. Mizzy, why hasn't the state pressed charges against Farwell yet? That's a good question. That's a question I ask all the time. It's Michael Morrissey's show. He's the one who would have to press charges, and they don't seem to be trying to move forward to press charges. They still the only thing that seems like they're going after from state charges is larceny, for basically time theft for him having hookups with Sandra while he was on the job, and that would obviously go to the other two, the other two too, because they were meeting and hooking up on the job. So to me, that's if that's all they're going to go after him on, that's disgusting. And everybody in the state of Massachusetts should be disturbed that the state does not go after these men with everything they have. It's the fact that he has not been charged by the state yet is disturbing. It's disgusting and disturbing, and it just continues to cover up. And I just saw a tweet. I want to read it, which just kind of angered me. This person said, there's a woman who's been posting a lot of stuff about Sandra Birchmore in the last few weeks, and this person replied, which I believe it is one of the Albert, Chris Albert. He said, "Did you pick up on the fact that MSP and the feds are working together on it?" Yeah, but it's not Michael Morrissey's office MSP. Like I said before, it's the Massachusetts State Police. The colonel turned over what they had. It wasn't, Fanning and Dunn and Michael Morrissey. They weren't happy to be having to turn this stuff over. I'm sure they didn't love going to have that sit down at the medical examiner's office. If they were working so hard and tirelessly with the feds, they would have state charges by now. Why aren't they putting pressure on the medical examiner to do a total review of Sandra's case? The medical examiner can change her findings, especially with the new information that has come out. So to put that assertion that Morrissey's Massachusetts State Police unit is doing anything is utterly ridiculous. They had 3.5 years to do something, and that angers me to no end to have people say, well, they're doing something. No, they're not. They could have done their job. The feds shouldn't have had to come in and build a case. Thankfully, I hate to say thankfully, but thankfully Sandra was a witness against Matthew, and she was saying things to prove that she was a witness against him, because otherwise the feds wouldn't have been able to charge him, because they don't do straight up murder cases. They do, conspiracies and murdering a witness, the feds take serious. It's a death penalty case. So the assertion that they want to put out there that Morrissey's office is working with the feds on this is utter bullshit. because I know for a fact that they lied to the family. I know for a fact Fanning lied to me. I know for a fact that they lied to the public. They lied to anybody that would listen. That there was nothing there that showed that she was murdered. When if any other guy walked out of that building on video, walked in on that the way he did on that video, and there were over 32,000 text messages with this young woman about how he molested her at 15 and groomed her and all this stuff. If it was any other male out there and they weren't a police officer, they would be buried under the jail, never mind being in the jail or prison, I should say. So it's utter bullshit that, that people want to throw that out there, that, that they're working with the feds on this. It's utter bullshit. Yes, they had to turn over all their information. That's probably the extent that they worked with the feds. And they had to turn over their information because the heads, the acting chief, the acting colonel in Morrissey's office made that unit turn over that information to the feds. It wasn't Morrissey working with them. Come on now.
Sorry. Hi, Mizzy.
Hey.
Sorry, I had you on.
Sorry, I was just going on a tangent about how people try to say that the Massachusetts State Police Unit under Morrissey is working with the feds. It's utter bullshit. It's utter bullshit. And people got to understand too, I know more things than the public know, and I talk to people who are in the know. So it's utter bullshit. Okay.
People are starting to, some are going that have already been doing this for 2 hours with Karen. Some people are getting ready to head out. They've got the dinner tonight. I can't believe how much.
Can you make an announcement for me saying thank you? If anybody who's heading out, thank you so much for coming. And, we appreciate them all, especially with me not being able to be there. It means so much that everybody showed up.
Yes, I will. And I've reminded the girls to be telling people about the 1st, February 1st, as well as the 4th.
Awesome. Thank you.
Trying to mention it. So Annie's talking to this woman, Mary, that we have here, that I met. So she's a first timer here. And she came today because she saw one of our signs in Mansfield. She was walking by it. She said, you walk by something, 3 or 4 times that really catches your attention. She said that Sandra's eyes continued to follow her. So, it was one of our signs that was kind of with this picture with Sandra's website on it.
Yep.
Saying how Sandra's eyes followed her as she walked by the sign. And she started, she Googled and learned more about the story.
Oh, thank you for coming out
here today. And she said she just felt compelled to come and stand with us. So it's stories like that of just these people that hear something about it and then come and join us.
And I appreciate every newcomer that comes to hang out with us. It's it's amazing the outpour that we've had from the community. Whether it be in person or just online. We appreciate everyone who supports the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group.
Yes. And we got Joe Gorman. He's always out here. He's hardcore with us.
Yeah, Joe's an early supporter, a very early supporter.
Say hi to Mizzy.
I came early this time.
Yep, he was early and on time.
And I even did take a nap, but I woke up.
Ask Joe how he heard about Sandra's case.
Joe, how did you hear about Sandra's case? What made you first start coming out here with us?
Through Mizzy's efforts.
Yep. Facebook group?
How did I first hear about it? The Boston Globe, obviously. But I think you mean the effort here?
Yeah, just coming out. What,
through Mizzy's Justice for Sandra Birchmore on Facebook. Social media is
where it's at?
It's mainstream now.
That's right.
It's real.
It's the real news.
If not for social media, we wouldn't be here.
That's true. That's a good point.
And Sandra wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well,
Well. Yeah. Well, we're so Look at these girls. They went out, made their signs. They want to buy some signs. I told them that we're working on that. And that
Yes.
them posted. They were asking about signs today and how they can obtain them.
Yes.
These girls do a lot of the Hanson Standout. They come from.
Such a good turnout. Such a good turnout today,
That's
especially with it being so cold. I was worried that people wouldn't want to come out, especially since there's the Free Karen Read movement standout that there's always at the Legacy Place in the morning on Sundays, and then as I said, there's a dinner tonight where a bunch of people are going. So I'm so thankful that everybody showed up.
yes. I've been thanking everyone, thanking them all for coming.
Why don't you talk to Barb? We haven't talked to Barb all day.
Okay, let's see where Barb is. Oh, she gets around fast. She's on the other side already. Bring you over. Hey, Barb. Mizzy's on live. She said, go over and talk to Barb. We haven't talked to Barb yet. Hi, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Mizzy saying hello. She's doing the banner duty.
Awesome.
Along with Lorraine.
Now, Barb is Sandra's cousin. Like I was talking about Barb earlier. You guys have heard me mention her if you've seen me on other shows. I talk about Barb a lot because she's my partner in this. And she's like, I got to say my silent partner because she couldn't be out there as much as, we would have liked. But we're going to talk on Thursday. And I hope you guys come and watch that because it should be a great show.
Barb, you're going to be on the show on Thursday? Tell me about that. Is this your first time?
Yes, very first time.
Exciting, a little nerve-wracking. I can already feel the butterflies in my stomach for you.
Oh, great. Why, thanks.
Very exciting, though. They're excited butterflies.
Yeah,
Trust me, it's only my
good
own fair.
butterflies.
It's my own fair that's stirring up in there.
And don't be surprised, even though Barb is there, that I do a lot of the talking because Barb is kind of quiet.
Yes.
Until you get to know her.
I heard that.
It's the truth. We were talking the other day because I was editing the thumbnail for Thursday's.
The little that you say, Barb, is very impactful. So.
And we were talking because I had an exclamation point after a mixed girl in a mixed up world. And she was telling me to take it off. And I was like, but I speak in exclamations. And she said, we were joking how she speaks in question marks. And I'm so like, and I was like, it's true. That's how we both kind of communicate. So
leave it to the editor. Leave it to the editor to fact check you. And we've got Lorraine, fearless Lorraine.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for everybody.
We are so thankful of everybody.
And thank you everybody who's in the chat watching and supporting. This support is awesome too. I know people don't always think that being in a chat for a YouTube stream helps, but it does. It helps immensely because it helps push it. Oh, those are great signs.
Yes, so these are Gen Root signs. They cannot investigate themselves.
Exactly.
Then we've got one with all the victims on there.
That's good. Yeah, I saw it. I think.
Yeah, I love that poster.
And he goes to everything.
I'm going to try to make us all one. I just have to learn.
He's a quick learner too.
Yeah, and also, so Jen and I are working together to come up with a couple more, and we'll work with some of the Free Camaraderie people. That we have a lot of things that we want to do in the next year when it comes to, group events to push, this stronger together, that it's not just Sandra, it's not just John and Karen, it's not just Justin, and it's not just Enrique. It's all of us together. And we have some big plans that we want to do.
There's Annie. She brought the hot chocolate.
Yay! Thank you, Annie. Annie is one of the team members. She is amazing. Annie lets me stay at her house. She drives me around. If you watch a lot of Free Karen Reed stuff, she's always in the background. She
Oh,
supports
Annie goes to everything, everything.
and she's become a dear friend to me, and I just love her. She's just a
Adore
special
her.
person,
Cute.
and she's just awesome. And I'm so thankful that she came along when she did, and from that second I met her, she was nothing but kind to me, and I love her for that. So
I just want to remind somebody to take pictures.
yeah, definitely have somebody take some pictures so I can make a video and show it on Earth Day.
Yes, because I haven't been able to take many because I've been on the live, so I haven't taken much. But I'll make sure someone does.
Yeah.
It's starting to get a little, disperse a bit.
Understandable, because we have the dinner tonight.
Yes.
You guys have the dinner tonight, so
And these guys are going on like 3 hours, over 3
yeah,
hours.
yeah, very understandable. And I mean, I appreciate any time that they came out. So,
Oh, you want to? Okay.
Yes, Jen, we do not want any more victims. None. This should not what happened to Sandra should never happen again. What happened to Justin should never happen again. What happened to John O'Keefe should never happen again. What happened to Enrique Delgado Garcia should never happen again. And there's plenty other people out there whose murders have gone unsolved because of inadequate investigations.
I have breaking news.
Yes.
So the newbie, so the new person that showed up today, the first timer, Mary, that I'm telling you all about. Guess whose sign it was in Mansfield?
Annie's.
Yes. Yes, it was.
They were just
That's right. When you said Mansfield, I had a feeling.
Oh, really? See, I didn't even know that much. Mizzy said as soon as she heard how she thought it was you.
Yeah, it was. We just met.
I'm so glad you guys got to meet. Is that? Do you have chills?
Oh, you guys already know that part of it.
Isn't that crazy though?
It's crazy.
She was saying how impactful our signs are.
Yeah. She was gonna put
Yeah. Annie has a sign right out in front of her house.
with her dog. I mean,
you're not on. Don't worry. But it's so amazing. I appreciate you for sharing that story. It's stories like that really. This is why we're here. It's working. It's working. It's working. This is it. It's working. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean,
emotional. Annie's emotional about it. I was emotional about it too. She's like, your signs are beautiful. I'm like, I just print them. So I'm so glad.
And every that one part, like they say, a pebble in the water creates a ripple. So just by one person hearing about it, it pushes the story out there more.
It's like this, Mizzy. It's this sign right here. Hold on, wait. Can you see it?
I can see it, but I can't. Can you read it to me?
It says, "But what can I do? I am just one person," said 7 billion people.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I love about, both all of these movements that have now come together is we're people from different economic backgrounds, colors, races, political ideology, religions. We're all coming together to band together to make our community a better place, to ensure this doesn't happen to other people. And we don't talk about politics. Like me and Trisha joke, our politics are way different, but we don't care about that. We're building a friendship, and we're communicating on a human to human level. And that's one of the things I think we're missing a lot, especially in the United States, where we need to communicate as community members and look at each other as people before we see, all the other stuff behind it. And that's one thing I love about these movements, and especially the Sandra Birchmore movement, because we don't care, as long as you're a decent person coming in to come stand with us. We will show you love, and we appreciate you.
Sorry, Ms. I was just having a conversation. Sorry.
That's okay. I was talking, so it was okay.
No, I heard that about the politics. It was funny because actually someone had just said that to me. She goes, I feel like I need to let you know. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. I handed her a little Jesus. I said, I'm sure Jesus was liberal too. And
Trisha walking around with like pockets full of little miniature
Jesus.
Jesuses and
Yeah,
hands them out.
I said, everybody has different political beliefs here. That's okay. That is not, yes. I was like, no, we are grateful you are here. We never, ever, we support each other no matter what. And that's what's amazing about, freedom of speech and the First Amendment right. So, and we all respect each other with that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everyone's opinion matters. So,
and I think it's helped me, like even just me as a person, to like, it brought the temperature down within myself. Like we all got to see, we're seeing, because when people are online, you're a nameless face. I mean, you have a name, but you're a faceless person. And if you're like this person, the contention is easy. But if you're people standing shoulder to shoulder with each other, and you see how personalities interact, and you find this commonality with people, the other stuff starts to fade away. Great. Yes, we all have our religious beliefs or political beliefs, but when you talk to somebody face to face on the human level, it changes. It helps bring the temperature down, and it helps change your outlook on people, and it brings the humanity back into to us.
Agreed. 1000% agreed.
So, excuse me. Ugh, this thing is kicking my butt, this cold. Does anybody in the chat have any questions?
Annie is just enjoying herself too much. I mean, I've just seen her keeled over laughing all day. Do you see that?
She's so funny.
She's having a great time today. She deserves it. She's been out here since 10 this morning. So
I was just gonna say, did she go to the other Standout?
I believe so. I didn't even ask, and I believe so. So one last swoop around. Hi, gentlemen. Thank you, and ladies. Because I'm gonna probably pass you off or sign off, Ms. My hands are freezing.
Okay.
I haven't really been able to see it. I want to take some pictures. I can try to pass you off to somebody.
Yeah, why don't you see if Suzanne can sign in through her phone, and then you could
let me see
for just a little bit, and then you guys can because you'll be starting to pack up in a little while. Yeah, see if Suzanne will come on for 10-15 minutes on her phone, and then
to find her. Oh, here she is.
Tell her it's in the chat, the mod chat.
She's looking it up right now, Miss.
Okay. Thank you so much, Trisha, for streaming this. I joked in our thing, our mod chat, that I'm like mom on the nanny cams surveillancing you guys. It stinks. I'm so sad that I can't be there.
Yes, we miss you.
You guys stepped up and did an awesome job today, and I appreciate you all.
Yes, we appreciate you. We really, really, really do. It's amazing to see how much work has been done in the last year with this, though, and how much the movement and people knowing, and well done, Miss. Well done, Miss.
Well, it's not just me. It's a group of us. We all have our little sections where we do stuff, and like I said at the beginning, like I call you our sign queen, and that has been so amazing for, because we've been able to bring signs for people who don't have signs, and you when Trisha gets there, she walks around the area and puts stakes out and sets them up, so even where we're not standing, people can see them, and it's been so monumental when it comes to getting this case out there. But okay, Suzanne just popped in. Thank you so much, Trisha. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. There's we've got a lot of honkers, so I couldn't hear you that well. Oh,
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
walk away a little bit.
We don't mind the honking.
No, there's a lot of really positive energy here today, and a couple of newcomers, as I'm sure Trish said.
Yeah.
And just a lot of supportive, positive energy, and a couple of people have come up and chat, and anything we can do to educate more and spread more of the word is a good thing. So mission has been accomplished so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's our biggest goal, is to educate the public on, Sandra's case, and making sure that, the public doesn't forget that this case happened, because it goes beyond I mean, obviously Sandra is why we are there, but it goes beyond Sandra. We don't want this to happen to another child. We don't want this to happen to anyone else. Young women shouldn't be taken advantage of by especially police officers, and we need the public to realize what went on in this case, so they can continue to put public pressure on the town, the state, so this does not happen again. This can't happen again, and our laws need to change, and hopefully Sandra's name can be enshrined into a law to ensure that there are harsher penalties for mentors who do this to their mentees.
Well, and I don't know if this has been mentioned throughout today's conversation, but let's not forget the fact that of the good and well-intended officers who do want to serve and protect, they should be able to do so in an environment that is conducive to them being safe. The problem with there being this, I don't like to use the term bad apples because it makes it sound like it's so random and isolated. And unfortunately, it's not that random and isolated. But how can they function in good conscience without the stress and the strain of, or even just the guilt? I'm sure that there are officers who have dealt with some, survivor guilt resulting from what happened with Sandra. And just that awful feeling of not being able to have intervened. I mean, we've got to consider that their mental well-being is at the heart of this too. Because they're trying to do their jobs the right way.
Yeah, it doesn't serve the community if the police station is hurting. Also, they need to be able to function to serve the community. And if you're I mean, the Stoughton Police Department has been a very troubled police department. This isn't the first scandal. This isn't Robert Devine's first scandal. But we need to make sure that, going forward, that police officers know that they can work in an environment that they're not standing next to, officers that are doing this to children, abusing children and grooming children. It's unacceptable.
Well, and bullying amongst each other. I mean, we know this about Divine, that when he was facing his troubles then and recently, years ago and recently, that there was infighting and retaliatory behavior. So that's detrimental to them being able to function as a good good agency, and we want them to be able to heal within too.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully they have removed the rot that was in Stoughton, and that's one thing I worry that they haven't got all the rot out of that police department, because it's never gonna they're never gonna fully be able to function fully till they get all of them out of there.
Well, and aside from rooting out any of the problematic behavior, what about the support and recovery of those who were hurt by it? I I've asked the question and I haven't really gotten a reasonable answer as far as, well, what measures have been taken to manage the crisis that happened within your department?
Yeah.
And I mean, just like any other work environment, crisis happened within that department, and there's got to be some wounds, mentally and emotionally, with those who it's painful when you're trying to do good and you're dealing with the absolute evil that occurred, and the guilt of it happening without you being able to prevent it.
Yeah.
But also the fear of being around guys that would operate like that. And I just haven't gotten a sufficient answer to that. And I don't know if anyone else has. What measures have been
No.
taken to help them move forward in a better, healthier manner?
And I think that's something that I've been thinking about too, of seeing if we could go further and maybe work with the police department about some things, as the public coming forth to them, as the representatives of the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group. Sorry, I have the hiccup. Try to help facilitate some stuff on our end, to make sure that we are ensuring that it's not lip service being paid to us, that there are actual changes within that department happening. Um, like we said, we're talking before about the internal report. I've criticized them for not going far enough, because I personally don't feel like it went far enough. I feel like they went up to the edge and stopped. But if it wasn't for this internal report, we wouldn't be sitting here, and he would not be sitting in jail. They would all still be police officers and probably doing this to another child.
Yep. And for me, obviously I'm a little biased on the topic, but there is no rest until Divine doesn't have the ability to be a police officer ever again.
Yeah,
I
that's
understand that the other two that they can't be ever again, and that's a start. But Divine has to be removed of his ability to return to law enforcement.
exactly. And I hope people understand how deep it goes with Robert Devine, because Robert Devine groomed the Farwells. He saw these two troubled young men who were getting into trouble, and he took them under his wing as his little proteges. He groomed them, but not to be victims, to be predators. He probably saw something in them that they had that inclination, but he groomed them to be predators. And that doesn't absolve these two men for what they did to Sandra, and whatever else they did, crimes they committed, or just being nasty, disgusting people. It just explains some of the stuff that went on.
Well, it
And
circles back to the root of the real evil, which it
yeah,
originates with him,
yeah.
and his practice and his training.
Like I look at. Let me give an analogy. I look at them as there's Star Wars, there's Darth Vader, and there's the Emperor. Divine is the Emperor. Matthew Farwell is Darth Vader. Darth Vader was bad, but the Emperor was 10 times worse, and he was the one who was that's Divine. Reality check asked me a question. Mizzy, I might have missed it, but have they interviewed all the participants in the program? That's something we don't know. but from reading the internal report, I don't believe so. There's only a few people that were in there, and especially Ashley, who came forward. And I'm only saying her name because she actually put her name out there and stepped forward in the Boston Globe. And she's been in my chat a few times before. You know, that's where how I just said they walked up to the line. That is where I get angry with the investigation. And I know there might have been issues because Robert Devine was secretive and he hid things and threw stuff out so they couldn't know the extent of all the explorers. But every explorer that went through that program should be brought in, and not in a way to victimize people, but just to see what they knew about Sandra. Start there. And if somebody who was a victim wanted to speak and come forward at that point, they could. But if just a fact-finding mission of what people knew about Sandra Birchmore's case, that's where I get angry with the internal report, because I don't feel like they went far enough. They went up to the line because I don't feel like they wanted to make it, because it had a potential to be like this big mushroom cloud spreading. Because there could.
And I wonder.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Mitzi, I couldn't hear over the bus going by. I wonder too if because it's part of the language of the internal report, if some of those Explorer records were tampered with in some way, because there were certainly references to files being in Devine's office, or in some way, that there was some mystery around those files, and I don't know if there was ever an end result.
Yeah.
Because he would have had them. I mean, they did refer to them being locked in his office.
Yep. And if anybody is interested in reading any of the reports, I have all the reports up on the Justice for Sandra Birchmore page. If you go to the file section, there's the Stoughton internal report. There's the Canton police reports of when they arrived on the scene. There's the Massachusetts State Police report, which is a farce. And then there's the charging document from Matthew Farwell, and the FBI affidavit. So I recommend people, if you're going to start anywhere, start with the internal report. Well, actually, yeah, start with the internal report and then go to the Canton report and the Massachusetts State Police report. And you'll notice when you read the Massachusetts State Police report that it's very lacking. I have interviewed a few people that have told me that, yeah, everything I said to them is not there. They were driving the conversation towards mental health. That's the way the conversation was presented to me when I spoke to Fanning, that it was all about her mental health and she had mental health issues and blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, so what? Just because you have mental health issues does not mean you're going to do this to yourself. And so I recommend everybody go read those reports. If you don't, I do have to warn you, the FBI affidavit is horrid. You'll definitely want to shower after reading it, and you will be disturbed. But if you want to know about Sandra's case, that's what I recommend you go read all of those. And the FBI, obviously, the two most important are the FBI report and the internal report. But the Canton report's good because you can see what was done and how some things are weird. You'll notice that none of the officers could tell us what the ligature was tied with. They were all different, and that made no sense. So there's a lot of things within the reports that are hinky. Yes, he was out in Easton for years. And for 3.5 years, this man was on the streets. And people should be horrified that he was on the streets that long. And some of it, he was a police officer. So he had a gun and a badge after he murdered her. And if the Massachusetts State Police took this case serious, they could have got him off the streets. It goes beyond Sandra. It's like public safety. I mean, he already murdered one person. They were letting him stay there with family and being around friends and the community. And it's not right what Massachusetts State Police and Michael Morrissey's office did.
Well, so Mizzy, if you don't mind me jumping in, I just had a thought about that, about Matthew Farwell being out there for 3.5 years. I mean, we already know from her case that in the days and the weeks leading up to him taking her life, that the dude he's a poster child for what the FBI would call escalative and predictive behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So given how he ramped up, previously to ending the life of Sandra Birchmore, why wouldn't it be presumed that he's a dangerous person? I mean, we know that they didn't do their diligence in, looking into the case when they did, but when it became apparent that he is in fact a dangerous person, shame on them for allowing that. Like I said, that escalative, predictive. It's illegal. It's a known legal thing that if somebody's ramped up to be violent and engage in that behavior in the past,
From Sandra.
then it was on them to stop it. It was on them to bring safety back to the community. Shame on them.
Exactly. They allowed this predator, and I call him an animal because that's what he is. He's an animal, to be on the streets for 3.5 years. Who else did he hurt in those 3.5 years? Because I know of at least one person.
Let's not take William out of the equation as being an escalative, dangerous person either, who is somehow moving his way closer and closer to the southern border. To me, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure Miss Jessica would have a thing to say about that.
Somebody just said, whoever told Farwell someone anonymously called about Sandra, and it, sorry, I cannot, my eyes are so bad right now, infuriated him, and poor Sandra paid for it. I like to talk about this because there's a little bit more behind that. The person who called, they weren't calling to report about Sandra. They called because she owed them money. And this person, her friend, was angry. And I do feel bad. And I have a lot of compassion for this person because of what happened because of this phone call. They didn't call to report him. It was out of anger. They were calling to say that she owed them money. And they said, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, it's a civil matter. We don't handle that. And she said, yeah, well, you tell Matthew Farwell to tell his girlfriend, Sandra Birchmore, to pay me my money. And I have kind of different feelings on this because in one sense, the person was kind of just relaying the message. But I also think they should have went to the higher ups about it too, instead of just, passing the message off to Farwell and, being done with it. And especially because of his reaction to the situation, how he became irate, and it wasn't a normal reaction because cops are known to have affairs. That's not an uncommon thing in police work, so to have a coworker of yours as a police officer who's stepping out on his wife it's not unheard of. It happens a lot. So for him to have the visceral, angry, threatening, menacing reaction he had to this call, it should have been escalated to the higher up saying, hey, something weird happened today. So what happened? Somebody's asking about Divine's post hearing. Divine, Divine basically got his hearing kicked down to another hearing. It's this ongoing thing where they're trying to get the information that they need to do the post commission hearing, for him to go in front of the post commission, but they don't have all the information that they need. They say they don't have the information that they need, and so it's just going to keep getting kicked down the road, and that's infuriating because his license needs to be pulled. And I know Suzanne has a lot of opinions about Robert Devine.
That's a whole other stream. But yeah, I mean, part of the reason why the discovery is so laborious and dragging out and taking so much extra time and effort is because there is a boatload of damaging information, and it is taking them an inordinate amount of time to disseminate it in order to figure out how he can defend himself ultimately, is the first part of it. But the other part of it is to get to the truth. Unfortunately, there's a lot of really damning truth in there, I would say, allegedly, because I have to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the terabyte of information that's referred to, the fact that, I mean, we've all kind of come to learn what a terabyte is, but it's an absurd amount of data. I think it was something like 27 several hour movies, and something like an entire library of pictures. It's a lot, and they're running into obstacles about how to break that information down and use it in a legal sense. And yeah, it's a whole other stream, which I'm
Yeah.
happy to do on our friend Robert Devine. He delivers a lot of backstory, and he wasn't looking so good on that last post hearing, I gotta say. We only got a glimpse of him, but he was looking maybe a little rough around the edges.
Good.
I caught a still of it, and I was like, yeah, he doesn't look good. He doesn't. I mean, neither does his lawyer, by the way. Which, why would he?
All I see when I see his lawyer is Louis C.K. All I see.
But not nearly as healthy as Louis C.K.
No.
The guy looks really tired and stressed out all the time, and I mean, I certainly hope he's getting paid well, but I don't know how he's able to sleep at night.
That's one of the things that needs to be put out in the universe. I know you and I have talked about it, but the fact that Robert Devine has a law license is utterly, it shouldn't even be ethical that he's allowed to have a law license. They're bound by ethics, and we know for a fact he is not an ethical person.
No. And a law license that, by the way, he obtained the day after Sandra's death.
Yeah.
I realize that a date is just a date, and it was a preordained appointment, so to speak, but it's still pretty hideous timing.
So I just kind of looked through the chat.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like I said, we've talked about, Suzanne and I have talked for hours and hours and hours about, Robert Devine and these guys, and it's sometimes it's hard to go down the rabbit hole of Sandra Birchmore's case because it's such a vile place to be. And, I can only imagine how hurt her family is. And, that's the thing is, with what's going to happen with this case when it goes to trial, they're going to need all of our support and love, because his lawyers are going to try to destroy Sandra on the stand. They are going to try to eviscerate her as a person. And we need to stand behind her and her family, because they are going to be playing dirty pool.
Well, we know this from the Karen Reed case. I mean,
Yeah.
I think about it in the perspective of all of those heinous things that came from Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor. That is going to seem like child's play in comparison with what they do to our dear poor Sandra.
Exactly.
And it hurts my chest to even think about it. But we will be there to make sure that the family has some strength and some support during that process, because they're not going through that alone. They're not going to go through it without an outpouring of positive and love for her, because she doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. Well, you guys are about to pack up and head out. Do you have any last thoughts?
Well, for me, it's really just more of, I'm going to turn the camera around to show everybody here today has been amazing. And we had a couple of folks just show up towards the end here who knew Sandra. And we didn't want to put them through the pressure of being on camera, but they stopped in to show support as well. And that's really powerful. It was a good day. And overwhelmed with gratitude at how many people showed up, and we're going to keep this going.
Yes. To steal from Karen Reed, lawyer, we ain't got no quit. We do not have any quit. And whether I'm sitting on my bootleg easy chair tweeting and making posts and making videos, I'm not going to stop speaking about Sandra's case. I'm not going to stop pushing her case. And we have too many other people that need to be taken down. So.
Well, we're here for it, and thanks to everybody in the chat. I can't see everything on my in the sun here and in this crowd, but thank you everybody for being here. I'm gonna head out and say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank everybody over there. And you guys have fun tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Lizzie. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming to join me for this this stream, and your support is so, we love your support. And we can't do this without you guys. I was telling, I think it was Annie today or yesterday, that I may be the face of the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group and movement, but it's not always about the person who is the face and outspoken being out front. It's the people who support. Supporting actors are just as important as the lead. And just because I may be the face and the voice doesn't mean I'm more important than anybody else out there. Everybody who's in this chat is helping. Everybody who tells Sandra's story is helping. Everybody who likes and shares and follows any of the things I do or we put out on the pages, it helps. It helps push her story out there. And that's what we need, is for everybody to help continue to push her story out there, because it has died down a little bit because of it's quiet right now. It's going to ramp up again in February. This happened on February 1st, 2021. And so we got a lot of big things planned coming up. And I hope some of you can join us in person for our next Standout. Again, that will be February 1st at the Canton Police Department from 1 to 3. And then we also have on February 4th, Matthew Farwell's hearing down at the Moakley building, and we will be there at 9 o'clock to do a standout before his hearing, and hopefully get some news coverage for that, and just keep plugging away, pushing her story, and letting people know what happened to Sandra, and that we can't allow this to happen to anyone else. Thank you, Patricia. We need to ensure that this does not happen again, because no other child should go through what happened to Sandra. And again, I appreciate all of you for coming and joining me today through my sickness and my, bitch be gone tea. I appreciate you guys so much. The hearing is on February 4th. It's a Tuesday. The hearing is at 10:40, but we are going to be there at 9 o'clock to do a standout beforehand. We're not going to, if you want to come and do the standout, just portion and not to go in. We're not going to be bringing a ton of signs, just because we're going to be going in and, parking. It's not like you can park right there. You have to, so we want to make sure that we'll have our big banner, and we'll have a couple things, but we just want to make sure there's a presence there. And if you come, please come dressed in light blue if you can, if you have or even blue in general, because light blue is Sandra's colors. We picked baby blue because Sandra's favorite color is blue, and we figured baby blue is a perfect way to pay tribute to both Sandra and the baby. So the colors are baby blue and white. So does anybody else have any questions before we head out? Yes, we are here to bear witness, and thankfully we all are. We have to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else's child. This never should have occurred, especially by police officers. But so since there's no questions, I am going to head out and go eat and try to get better so I can be healthy for the first. I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining me. Again, I'm going to be streaming on Thursday with Barb. Hold on, there's a question. Is the wife still standing by him? Is she accepting? I'm not 100% sure. I know she wasn't happy with some of the comments about her children, so I tried to not comment much on the family, on her and the children. I do comment on how she had her child the day, the next day after having him murder Sandra, because it is relevant to Sandra's case. He used that as basically as a kind of sort of a part of his alibi that he didn't do this, he couldn't have done it, type deal thing. And that's all I mentioned. I try to mention about them because they're victims in this also. I don't agree with some of what had gone on because, the internal report had been out for so long, but so, you could have read it, type of thing, but they're victims in this. She didn't know who she was marrying. So, his family are victims in this, and that's all I kind of want to say. I don't want to talk too much about the family because they're the children are innocent children. So, but does anybody else have any? Is it that she didn't know or she didn't want to know? Because like I said, the internal report was out. you know, it was out for a long time. So, you know, if she, you know, she could have read it. I mean, if I knew what was going on, if it was me, I would have read it all, you know. To me, I feel like she probably believing him in what he says. They sure are victims. And but sorry, my glasses are like not working today. Has to understand that he did this. Oh yeah, they fully got to understand that he did this and he's a vile, disgusting animal. And but like I said, it's they they're innocent in this too, you know. And he didn't just destroy Sandra's life and Sandra's family, he destroyed his own, you know. So he needs to rot in hell for all of it. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. My voice is really starting to fade out. And I want to thank everybody. Thank everybody for coming out and joining me and watching our standout. You got to see a little bit what we do, and you know, got to meet some of my, you know, amazing moderators and crew that work closely with me to bring Sandra's story out there. So I want to thank everybody for coming in. I am Mizzy, and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Have a great day, guys.